In today's lesson, we're going to be using Computer Systems Lesson 3, Vector Graphics, learning about some vector graphics. I'm going to start that by looking at the flag of France. If you had to describe the flag of France to someone, you would probably talk about rectangles, red, white and blue. But if you were doing that, you could also be describing the flag of the Netherlands, rectangles, red, white and blue. So to make the difference between those two shapes, you have to give a wee bit more information. You have to talk about the positions, the exact shades, the sizes, the width, the height of those rectangles. And that's how vector graphics works. They draw shapes by using the properties of those shapes. That's the combination I want you to remember. Vector graphics is the properties of shapes. Have a look at some more countries. There's other shapes here as well. So in Japan, we've got a white rectangle with a red circle in the middle. In the Bahamas, we've got a triangle there on top of 3 rectangles. And in the Democratic Republic of Congo, we've got yellow lines, a thicker red line, a yellow star, all on top of a blue rectangle. So in order to store those inside a computer system, we need to know the properties of each of those objects. The properties of the lines, the triangle, the circle, the rectangles. For National 5, we need to know about 4 main shapes: a rectangle, an ellipse. Okay, be careful there, it's not an oval, we want to call that an ellipse. A line and a polygon. A polygon is any straight-sided shape. So triangles, squares, hexagons, pentagons, octagons, and so on. They're all examples of polygons. The attributes that we store, they're different for different shapes. So for a rectangle, we need to know its starting coordinate, then its length and breadth. For an ellipse, we need to know its x and y radiuses, and it's the centre of the radius, the centre of that ellipse. For a line, we need 2 pairs of coordinates, the start and end coordinates. And for polygons, we need lots of coordinates, the coordinates for every corner in that shape. Then for the different shapes, you can see all the colours up there. So you need to know the line colour and the fill colour, and also the thickness of the line. So the red line is a big thick line for Congo, the yellow line much narrower. This is stored inside the computer system using SVG code. SVG stands for Scalable Vector Graphics. And here's 4 examples of code. Now you wouldn't have to memorise this and write these, but we were just doing a wee task today to get you to edit some properties so you really understand the different properties that are stored for every object. An important point to note is that the coordinates start up the top left-hand corner of the screen. As the x value increases for coordinates, it moves along to the right. As the y value increases, it moves down from that top left corner. It's a wee bit opposite from normal coordinates in maths. We're going to use a website today that lets you edit, type in and change SVG code. It looks a wee bit, actually, when you look at it, like HTML. That's the closing tag and the opening tag for some SVG code. And very often SVG graphics are rendered or drawn inside a web browser. These values up here, I'll normally ask you to change. This is like the size of the page. So that we can draw bigger shapes, normally we change the width and height. I don't normally then change anything else in the first or last lines. Instead, we change the properties of the individual objects. This code I've highlighted makes this shape appear. It's a rectangle, its width is 200, and its height is 100, so it's longer than it is tall. It's got a black outline, quite a thick black outline, filled in with green. And all of these properties can be changed. I can change these colours to be something different. I can change the numerical values to move them around and change the sizes of any code that is on the page. I change that to 300. I press the view, the wee magnifying glass, to see the shape that appears. Okay. So what we're going to do is a series of tasks. We're going to try and draw some flags using SVG code. First task is try and finish off that French flag. So we copy the entire code from OneNote, delete any code that's already there, and then paste in this flag. So we've got three rectangles, 1, 2, 3. They're not all the same height, 200, 200 by 100, and then this smaller red square, 50 by 50. They've got different coordinates, different starting positions. So your task is to edit the code for this last rectangle, this red one, and try and get it to move over to the left and make the French flag over here. When you make some changes, press the magnifying glass to see what it looks like. That's too big. The next task has got a circle in it, so it's the Japanese flag we're trying to do. So it's not too far away, it's got a rectangle and an ellipse, but it's in the wrong direction, so we need to change the orientation of the rectangle, and it's an ellipse just now. So you can see there we've got the radius in the x direction, the radius in the y direction. So because they're different values, that's what makes it the oval ellipse shape. If I make Rx and Ry the same, that draws a circle. So your challenge is to draw the flag, moving the circle around by changing the center coordinates, changing the height and width of the flag to finish and make the Japanese flag. Task 3, is moving on to the Bahamas. And that's not too far away. If you remind yourself what we're looking for, it's that turquoise, yellow, turquoise. So the colours are the wrong way around. And the triangle is over the left-hand side. We've got it up the top. So you've got to look at the coordinates here of this triangle. Okay. That's 3 pairs of coordinates, 0, 0, 250, 0, 125, 75. That's that centre point there. By editing some of those values, you can change the size and position of that triangle. So your challenge is to make correct Bahamas flag, changing the colours, changing that triangle. You'll spot that all of the colours I've used in these tasks are hexadecimal colour codes, and you'll be familiar with them from your HTML and CSS work. Final task is the most challenging one, Democratic Republic of Congo. We want you to copy all this code, and you can see there's more of it, so a more complicated flag. And it's nearly there. I've given you lots of things to start with. 3 lines. The F7 codes, that's the yellow colour, and the CC colour, that's red, the thick red line with thicker colour there. The star is correct, but it's in the wrong position. So what you want to do is you want to change that, the X position, the Y coordinate of all of those points here. There's 5 points for the 5 points of the star. Okay. When you've edited those, then you'll be really familiar with all of the properties of the shapes that we can create in vector graphics. You'll have edited rectangles and ellipses, lines and polygons. You'll have changed fill colour and line thickness in order to produce these 4 flags. The final kind of challenge extension task is to look at some other flags and choose one yourself. You can choose another one. I've just given 12 examples here. There's a link, you can choose some other ones. But choose one of those flags and try and create the flag in SVG code, copying and pasting a screenshot of your completed flag down here. I've grouped them into kind of bronze, silver, gold, the easiest ones to the most difficult. So it's up to you which one you want to try. Try a couple, play about with it. Got lots of time to work on those. And there's a couple of written questions down the bottom for you to attempt to. Okay, and that's the lesson today about vector graphics.